Life as a programmer is a bit like riding a roller coaster. At times, you feel like a god, making machines behave at will. Other times, you feel utterly hopeless, questioning every life choice that led you to this point. Let's face it, programming is hard. And if you've just started learning how to code, I'm sorry to say that the problems you'll be facing won't get any easier. But here's the thing. A true warrior doesn't wish for an effortless battle, but they train relentlessly to be stronger. And here lies the secret behind mastering anything in life. And programming is no different. So in this video, I want to talk to you about three things. First, why do we lose motivation when learning how to code? Second, how can we keep ourselves motivated? And third, tips for faster debugging. Because let's face it, debugging is actually one of the most exasperating and frustrating things that we do as programmers. You see, the mind is naturally lazy and impatient. It loves cutting corners when trying to solve problems. One of the biggest mistakes that everyone makes when starting to code is getting caught in a vicious cycle of watching tutorials, copying code, and Googling errors. I was personally making that mistake all the time, and it took me a long time to realize that it was coming from a place of intellectual laziness, driven by a lack of self-confidence. I was unconsciously telling myself, this is too hard, I will never be able to fully understand how it works, so let me just copy what others are doing and hope for the best. The worst thing about this approach is that you never actually get the chance to truly progress and improve your skills. Over the years, you might be gathering experience, but not true knowledge, which will keep you in a constant state of frustration and impatience. Learning to code is like building a house. If you rush to construct the walls without a solid foundation, the structure will simply just collapse. And the solid foundation here means understanding exactly how things work before attempting to utilizing them. So, for example, instead of watching a quick tutorial about how to create a React app and just copying the provided code, the best long-term strategy would be to go to the documentation, understand what React is, and get familiar with how it works first. And you will have then all the tools to build the app yourself, actually. I can't emphasize enough how important it is to train yourself to do the hard intellectual work required for you to improve your coding skills. And there is no way around it if you want to play the long-term game. Now that's being said, the question is where to find the motivation to stay consistent. Since there is an overwhelming amount of things to learn, and also as a programmer, a lot of the frustration happens when dealing with bugs, when you don't even know where to start. Let's start by acknowledging that motivation is closely tied to what goal you are trying to achieve. So choosing the right goal to focus on is very important. And as a programmer, instead of measuring your progress based on your output, you can measure your progress by how much you have learned, actually. You can keep a journal, for example, where you can write down what you have learned every day, and seeing how far you've come will give you motivation to keep going. And since you always learn in either success or failure, you will always progress towards your goal. Also, if you have the liberty to pick your projects, find something that genuinely interests you. Programming, after all, is just a tool to help us solve real-life problems. So identify a problem you are keen on solving and make it a chance to learn new skills. Actually, finding enjoyment in what we are doing will always keep us motivated. Now, let's talk about a big frustration every programmer has to deal with. Debugging. Debugging can be an exasperating experience, and it's very easy to start losing your motivation when each attempt to fix a bug reveals yet another layer of complexity. The good news is, there are a few tips that can make this process a bit more manageable. First, rubber duck debugging. It's a programming practice where you explain your code line by line to an object like a rubber duck, which can surprisingly clarify your thoughts and uncover the hidden issues you were looking for all along. You can actually also use a person if you can. Second, don't try the same thing and expect a different result. Acknowledge that the machine is always right, and trying the same thing again and again while expecting a different result is just counterproductive. I personally have been several times guilty of running builds so many times before I finally acknowledge that something is actually not working. Third tip here is use and abuse log statements. When encountering issues in your code, don't overlook the value of placing log statements in your code. Instead of relying on assumptions, log variable values, function inputs and outputs, or any crucial information that can help you understand how your code is executed. And the fourth one here in the list is just simply taking a break. Go for a walk, change your environment for a minute. Sometimes all it takes is actually a brief pause to regain focus. And the final tip here is leveraging ChatGPT. ChatGPT can be actually a great companion for learning and debugging, so use it for assistance whenever you need. Finally, know that with each bug you solve, you gain confidence that you can tackle any problem that comes your way. This assurance that you will gain will make your debugging experience easier on your mind the more years you will be working as a programmer. And remember, don't be hard on yourself, be patient, and just try to enjoy your journey. So that's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in another video. Bye!